Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be giving this old dresser a new life. My mom gave me this dresser for free last year and I'm just now getting around to redoing it. I'm going to start by removing all of the hardware and prepping the piece for paint.
Deep connection lights a spark. It's like you know me in the depths of my heart. We're dreamers. Don't care what other people say. We live it like this could be a final day. We're dreamers. Don't care what the others say. We're doing this in our way. We come alive in the nighttime. It's something about how we dance.
Here I'm going to wash the hardware from the dresser in some warm water and dish soap. You just need to make sure you remove any dust, dirt, or oils from the pieces so that the paint will stick.
We come alive. We come alive. We come alive. What's your weakness? What's your type? Somehow I wanna know all about you. Deep connection lights a spark. Like you already know me when we dance in the dark.
In this video, I'm also going to be showing you things that I would have done differently if I was going to try and sell this piece. Because I'm using it for personal use, I'm not near as picky when it comes to the interior and any nicks in the wood. But first I'm going to prep the piece by wiping it down thoroughly with a multi-surface spray and some paper towels. Just like the hardware, it's important to remove any dirt or dust that could prevent the paint from sticking.
Tells me that you want me and all my loving. We come alive in the nighttime. You and I, we come alive. Oh, we come alive. We come alive. Oh, we come alive. Tell me that you want me. I can see you want me by the look in your eyes. Tell me that you want me. I can see you want me by the look in your eyes. We come alive. We come alive. We come alive in the nighttime. Something about how we dance.
This is the paint I'm going to use for the dresser. This is the Krylon Chalky Finish Tintable Paint. And this is the chalk paintbrush I'll be using as well. I got both the paint and the brush from Lowe's. What I really like about this paint is that you can use any color that Lowe's has to offer from any brand. I feel like with other chalk paint brands, you just don't get as many color choices.
We come alive. We come alive.
Here I wanted to show you that if I was going to try and sell this piece, I would sand this part down and fill in the holes, but since it's for personal use, I'm just going to paint over it. Another thing I really like about this paint is that it's cheaper than other brands. This size container is only about $17 and it really goes a long way. I was able to do 2 coats on this dresser and do 2 coats on my fireplace in my room and still have about half the container left. It's also more accessible. You don't have to order it or try and find a store that sells it. You can just walk into Lowe's and purchase it and use any color that they have, so you really can't go wrong. I highly suggest you get this type of brush if you're working with furniture that has a lot of grooves or crevices. It really gets in there and makes your job so much easier. Because I wasn't sanding the piece or filling any holes, I was able to start and finish this piece in one evening. So if you're feeling intimidated by a big project or you're worried that it might take a long time, just start. Depending on how scuffed and old the piece is and how picky you are for perfection, it could be a one-day project, which are my favorite kinds of projects. So this is the piece after one coat of paint. It's hard to tell on camera, but you can definitely still see the original wood through the paint, so I did end up doing 2 coats of paint on this piece. In between coats of paint, I worked on spray painting the hardware. I like to put the hardware in shoe boxes before I paint them. It makes cleanup easy and I don't have to worry about the wind blowing dirt onto them while waiting for them to dry. This is the color and brand spray paint I used, but I will link all the products I used in the description.
I cannot beat you. No, I won't have it, babe. Not playing this game. I do not feel you. I'm not crossing that tape. It would be a shame.
Now I'm going to start painting the drawers. This was my favorite part because it was so satisfying and easy to paint. They also needed 2 coats of paint to fully cover. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm not going to try and sell this piece, but if I was, I would paint the sides of the drawers and put a cute wallpaper liner inside the drawers. A quick tip, in between coats of paint, wrap your brush in saran wrap. Chalk paint dries very quickly and the saran wrap keeps the brush wet while you wait for your coats to dry.
I wanna make things right. Run away on this night.
Now to my least favorite part, replacing the hardware. This took forever and I am the most impatient person in the world, but it was definitely worth it in the end.
So listen, baby, listen carefully, 'cause I got something to say. I feel us fading. Listen carefully.
Now that all the coats are dry and the hardware is replaced, it is time to reassemble the dresser. Just be very careful if you're impatient like me and didn't wait the full 24 hours for the paint to dry. It was still dry to the touch, but any bump would have nicked the paint, so just be very careful.
Stop this charade. Stop this charade. I would give you the world if it was up to me. It's not too late to be heard, so tell me what I need to know. Tell me what I need to know.
Once I brought the piece in a room with different lighting, I was able to see some spots that needed more paint. So here you will see me use the brush that was still wet to touch up those spots.
Let's stop this charade. Stop this charade. Stop this charade.
And here is the final product. I am so happy with how this turned out. If you liked this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and I will see you in my next video.